right, happy week 2, everybody, for art. So we'll get right into our discussion forum. What changes have occurred in your lifetime that greatly changed the way you think or act? For me, I lost my dad probably 15, 20 years ago, and that was impacted me a whole bunch. And I learned through that to appreciate things a lot more, to kind of enjoy things. He enjoyed the outdoors. He enjoyed anything outdoors, spending time with us, his kids, and I've kind of passed that on to my kids where, we do a lot of outdoor stuff, and that definitely just kind of changed the way I look at things. And even, I'll get into it in our next question, but some of the art now that I look at is stuff that he would have liked or looked at as well. So what stylistic movement did you find most aligns with your values and personal aesthetic? What is the value about that particular approach? What did you learn about the context of that movement that stood out to you as interesting or impactful? So for me, I like realism art, but particularly I don't know why, but I'm drawn to the American realism art. I took an art class before and I really enjoyed it. Although it wasn't really a realism art, but it was at the same time. I did a big piece on Washington crossing the Delaware painting, and I think I chose that because I like the history. I like history and stuff like that. And then it was just neat for, obviously the artist was of German American descent, so he was an immigrant. It was Emanuel Lutz, I believe. So I like the American realism stuff. A lot of it just shows reality and people doing just everyday activities. And to me, that's interesting, and just seeing how people do stuff. And I enjoy I like realism, showing other cultures as well, but I'm particularly just drawn to the American realism. And like for this week, I chose the one by George Bingham, which is The Fur Traders Ascending the Missouri, which shows a fur trader and his son on a older, almost a Native American style canoe with the boy leaning on it, and it just shows how things were back in that time. And the colors are kind of, you can definitely tell it's, a Midwest type thing. It's darker colors. I don't know. I just like the looks of how realistic stuff like that looks, and how you can imagine yourself there. I mean, you could, from the painting, you could feel how, the humid weather, being on the water like they are. And it's almost like they're posing at the camera. That type of art, like I said, just really interests me. And I think, relating back to my dad, he really liked the outdoors, and I've noticed with this one, it was, kind of an outdoorish type one, and I appreciate the outdoors more now, and I think, this kind of helped depict that. Even the Washington crossing the Delaware, I think when I chose that, it's obviously outdoors, and a big piece of American history, is George Washington going across the Delaware, but just the realistic look to that painting, and, where it came from. And it wasn't a solely American, it was a German and American immigrant that painted that, so that kind of made that even neat. So anyway, that's my post for the week. I'm look forward to hearing what everybody else has to say, and yeah, everybody have a good week too.